All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. Gonna be going over Flesh and Blood deck tech style video with Prism, Awakener of Soul. So for those who may have watched the spoilers that I did for Flesh and Blood Dusk Till Dawn set, you'll if you saw me talk about Prism, I was very impressed with the way her angels were and stuff. Now I will say, after doing some additional research, it looks like pulling off the angels is going to be a little harder than originally expected, or, you know, it's going to be a little harder than I thought it would be, which will make it a little bit not as fun as it looked. But that's not going to stop us, right? So this is going to be a deck tech style video. We're going to talk about a bunch of different equipment, a bunch of different ideas, a bunch of different deck builds that we could potentially go. And guys, if you have any of your own feedback you want to leave in the comment section below, please leave it, because this is probably I've ordered a bunch of cards for Prism. So moving forward, I'm going to try and put some play testing down with Prism decks. And I've got some ideas. I'll go over them all in the video. So let's go ahead and hop right into it, because we do have a lot of cards to talk about. So these are all the different equipments I think are worth talking about. Not to say that all of them are as good, but you know, we're going to go over them. These are a bunch of illusionist and light abilities, and then in the sideboard, quote unquote, I put the like generic abilities we're going to talk about as well. So let's just go ahead and blast right through it as best we can, as quick as we can here. Okay, so remember, Prism, Awakener of Soul. This is the leader. We're dealing with 32 life. Okay, so that is something we can technically take, you know, how do you say it? Like, we can take advantage of that in some ways. So let's just keep that in mind. 32 health. For intelligence, that's just very standard. Now, the ability we need to keep in mind is whenever a card with Herald in its name is put into Prism's Soul during an action phase, you may search your deck for a figment, put into the arena, then shuffle. And then, of course, once per turn, at instant speed, you can pay 2 and banish a card from Prism's Soul to awaken a target figment that you control, flipping it over into the angel, right? So the first thing up here, which is perfect, is this Arcanite Skullcap. And I'm not saying we should go this just because, you know, we have the less life, you know, than most decks kind of thing. Arcanite Skullcap is if you have less life than an opposing hero, Arcanite Skullcap has +1 and Arcane Barrier. And it's battle worn, so if you defend with Arcanite Skullcap, put a -1 counter on it when the combat chain closes. So, you know, you still have that, you know, access to the Arcane Barrier 3. Again, that's if you defend with Arcanite Skullcap, or excuse me, that's battle worn, and this is if you have less life than an opposing hero. Arcanite Skullcap has +1 to the defense, right? Very strong, very solid. But still, there are probably better options for us. We're going to go over like Halo of Illumination. So just, again, I'm just kind of brainstorming right now. We're just trying to brainstorm, guys. We're trying to break the deck, right? We're trying to break the meta, stuff like that. So let's just keep these things in mind. Okay, Blood Drop Brocade, or Brocade, I don't know how you say this. Instant, destroy Blood Drop Brocade, gain 1 resource, activate this ability only if you have dealt or been dealt physical damage this turn. So, I mean, this is kind of more, this is a probably not, but this gain resource is very good. I would consider Blossom of Spring even better than it. And then, of course, I would consider Findall's Spring Tunic even better than that, right? This ability to gain a resource is just extremely powerful. Celestial Kimono, I just think this is interesting. Once per turn, when Celestial Kimono or a non-token permanent you control ward is destroyed, you gain 1 resource. It has ward 1, so, you know, okay, for those who don't know, the way ward works is if your hero would be dealt damage, prevent 1 of that damage and destroy Celestial Kimono. You don't get the choice. And the same idea is true for the figments, right? When they turn into angels. Where are they at? So, like, for example, Themis here, all of them are the same, by the way. They're all 4 physical attack, 4 life, and all of them are ward 4 for these angels. And ward is if your hero would be dealt damage, destroy this to prevent 4 of that damage. You just, period. You can't get around it. Okay, unless you have other ways to prevent it, you know, on the board, of course. So that's one thing that's not great about Celestial Kimono. You don't really get to pick and choose when you're going to gain this, but it is something worth talking about. So Crown of Dominion is just nice. Being a Viscerai player, right? Of course, I know about Crown of Dominion. I don't think it's as good with a deck like Prism, but it's something worth mentioning. Maybe we need to keep that in mind with the gold token. And Crown of Providence, when this defends, everyone knows what Crown of Providence does. When this defends, you may put a card from your hand or arsenal on the bottom of your deck. If you do, draw a card. Okay, it's just a great helmet. And I've seen some play testing with Crown of Providence, and I've seen some play testing with Halo of Illumination. These look to be the two go-tos, just because, you know, Crown of Providence is so good, and Halo of Illumination has such a good synergy with Prism's, you know, built-in, baked-in ability. So, okay, let's keep going. And after we get through all the equipment, we'll recap and kind of talk about everything overall. So, Crown of Reflection, instant, destroy Crown of Reflection, destroy target illusionist aura you control. If you do, you may put an illusionist aura from your hand into the arena with cost less than or equal to the aura destroyed this way. Activate Crown of Reflection only during your action phase. So you can't do it on your opponent's action phase. But you can do it at instant speed on your action phase to, you know, try to do some shenanigans. I think the only thing that's really nice about this one is it has Arcane Barrier 1, in my personal opinion. I would much rather have Crown of Providence or Halo of Illumination, but still, it's good to talk about stuff like this. Maybe this fits in our sideboard for Arcane Barrier if we need it, if we can't fit it in elsewhere. So just something to consider. Okay, Deep Blue. And I'm sorry if it feels like I'm rushing, guys. It's just we have a lot of cards to go over. so let's blast through these. Deep Blue, this is just put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. Destroy Deep Blue to gain 3 and go again. So I guess I kind of saw this as like an option to get out of a dead pool, like where, oh man, I've only got a bunch of red cards in hand and I really want to pop off with something. Or maybe even, I don't know, maybe offensively you can do like what's it called? Arclight Sentinel. I'm just brainstorming again, guys. Not saying it's a great play, just saying, you know, something to consider. But we do have very good options for the chest that we'll get into. Diadem of Dream State. This is one of the new helmets here, or headpieces for the illusionist. Once per turn, when this or a non-token permanent you control with ward is destroyed, you may pay 1. If you do, create a ponder token. So this is kind of the opposite of the where is it? This one, the kimono. Like the kimono, like, gives you a resource, whereas the diadem, you need to pay a resource so you can get a ponder token. It is ward 2 though, so if your hero would be dealt damage, destroy this to prevent 2 of that damage. Again, I think we have better options, but it's worth talking about. Dreamweavers. Destroy Dreamweavers. The next illusionist attack action card you play this turn loses and cannot gain Phantasm. Go again. And it has Spell Void 1, so you know you can, you know, basically destroy this to prevent 1 arcane damage that a source would deal, which is nothing to scoff at, by the way. I will say that, you know, Viscerai and Vincent, I think they're going to be pretty popular, right? Unless they end up just not being meta where they're not strong enough to compete. They seem like they're going to be pretty popular, so having Spell Void, having Arcane Barrier, it seems like it's going to be very important. But these are very nice for trying to force attacks through against decks that have larger attacks where they can just block Phantasmal or Phantasm. So okay, next we have Empyrean Rapture. This is probably the best chess piece in my personal opinion for what we're trying to do. But it depends. You know, you can take the deck in different directions. Empyrean Rapture has, if a card with Herald in its name has been put into your hero's soul during your turn, the first hero ability you activate that turn costs 2 less to activate. So you can't really, unfortunately, you can't do tricks on your opponent's turn through, you know, like, I don't know, maybe pitching like Light of Soul to put a Herald into Prism's, putting a light card into Prism's soul. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. To, you know, try and get the free interaction on your opponent's turn. You can only do it on your turn with this. But you can still pay for it on your opponent's turn, doing what you're saying, but you don't get the effect of Empyrean Rapture. That's only on your turn. And then once per turn, pay 1. This gets ward 1 until end of turn. That would have to be an absolute last resort if you're running Empyrean Rapture, because you want to get the full value out of 2 free resources if you can hit with Heralds, right? That's kind of what we're going for. Okay, so let's keep going. Fisticuffs, this is just an idea. Action, pay 2, destroy it, target attack, action card, gains +1 physical. Maybe just trying to push damage through against decks that are very defensive. Maybe not, just an idea. Frontline gauntlets, frontline helm, frontline legs, and frontline plating, these are all the exact same. They are at the beginning of your end phase, put a -1 armor counter on this, and they have blade break, and they do have they all start with 2 defense. So maybe a decent sideboard option if a deck becomes very aggressive in the format, where we need to stop them early. But I think this will be very much a last resort, because we do need our armor, our equipment rather, to do things that we need, like to benefit us. So let's keep going. Find all Spring Tunic. At the start of your turn, if Find All Spring Tunic has less than 3 energy counters, you may put an energy counter on it. Instant speed, remove 3 to gain a resource. We all know what this does, and it has blade break for 1 armor. This is very good. Okay, period. Right, in Flesh and Blood, this is very good. But like for what we're doing, this does seem like a prime candidate competing with Empyrean Rapture. So okay, again, we're going to go over that again in the end of each section. So Halo of Illumination, this looks to be probably the most promising headpiece. Not to say that there's not other very good options, like I said, like Crown of Providence, for example. But so here's what Halo of Illumination does. Instant speed, pay 1, destroy Halo of Illumination. Put a card from your hand into your hero's soul. If it's a light card, draw a card. So this is more like what I was saying with like Prism, Awakener of Soul. You can do Halo of Illumination at instant speed, so on your opponent's turn, and get this triggered whenever a card with Herald in its name is put in your Prism Soul, or is put into Prism Soul. During an action phase, you may search your deck for a Figment, put it into the arena, then shuffle. However, unfortunately, it does not also proc Empyrean Rapture. That was all I was trying to say earlier, so just to specify. Okay, Halo of Illumination, though, very good, very strong interaction with Prism. This is going to allow us to do combat tricks. It makes sense to run this. And last but not least, it does have Spell Void too. Not incredible, but it's better than nothing, right? But you're probably going to be... The reason you would run this is nothing to do with Spell Void. It is literally just for that instant. So, okay, let's keep going. Heart and Cross Strap. This is a classic. Yeah, we have better chess pieces, but maybe if you're building on a budget, which, by the way, I should have mentioned that in the beginning. One nice thing about doing videos like this is we're going to, go over a lot of options for players who are on a stricter budget than others. Heart and Cross Strap is actually a very, very strong chess piece. It just gets overshadowed by cards like Find All Spring Tunic, and in this deck, something like Empyrean Rapture, right? Heart and Cross Strap is actually excellent. So what it does is you destroy it. The next action card you play this turn costs 2 less to play. Go again. Well, guess what? Since we're running a deck with Heralds in it, they all cost 2 except for War Tune, right? See, other than War Tune Herald, this one costs 1. Herald of Erudition costs 2. Judgment costs 2. And we're going to go over these in a minute. But all of these, even Invoke Soraya, like from a previous set, this costs 2, right? Like, it's just... There are so many. Well, this is an action invocation. You guys get what I'm saying. Sorry, guys, got carried away there. But you guys get the point. These heralds, they cost 2 on average, like Herald of Tenacity, Herald of Triumph. So again, just keep that in mind, especially if you're on a budget. This is not a bad option at all. And in fact, it will probably allow you to really pop off even better than like the Fiandals or Empyrean Rapture would in certain cases. Maybe. Well, I don't know. Really, it does depend. So okay. Iris of Reality, this is a weapon choice. During your action phase, illusionist auras you control are weapons with 4 physical attack, and once per turn action, pay 3, attack, go again. Very strong, especially if you're running very heavy on blues or very balanced amount of blues. This is just, it's turning your auras into attacks, right? Like it's turning any and all auras into attackers. I don't need to explain much about this. Very strong, right? And this was good even in the previous Prism deck, from what I understand. Okay, Luminar Celestial Fury. Once per turn instant, pay 2, target angel attack or attack action card with Herald in its name gets go again. So it does cost 1 less than Iris of Reality, but it only applies to angel attacks or attack action cards with Herald in their name. Gives them go again. It's at a steep cost of 2, but it's also not horrible. So let's just keep that in mind. Null boots, gloves, hood, and robe. These are all the exact same. They're Arcane Barrier 1. Okay, it's just good to know about these. Okay. Phantasmal Footsteps. These are probably the best boots. They just are the best illusionist boots you can have. So the first time an illusionist attack action card you control is destroyed each turn, you may pay 1 resource. If you do, gain 1 action point. So again, so remember, for those who don't know, the first time an illusionist attack action card you control is destroyed each turn. This is what that means realistically. Let me just find one. Here we go. Phantasm at the very bottom of this card, right above like the attack and defense. If Herald of Ravages is defended by a non-illusionist attack action card with 6 or more physical, destroy Herald of Ravages and close the combat chain. Okay, the combat chain should still close, if I'm not mistaken. However, you do get an extra action point. Okay, so then you'll be able to do something after that combat chain, like start a new combat chain. You know, it's just the point. And this gives you a little bit of insurance against people popping your phantasms. Popping being like cracking it, like I just said, destroying it. Okay, and then whenever you defend with Phantasmal Footsteps, you may pay 1. If you do its armor becomes 1 until end of turn. If Phantasmal Footsteps defends a non-illusionist attack with 6 or more physical, destroy it when the combat chain closes. So if you're playing against a deck that has combat tricks, you might want to really be careful with these. Okay. Radiant Flow, Radiant Raiment, Radiant Touch, and Radiant View. These are all from the new set. They're just very good at preventing damage. Banish this. So at instant speed, all these are the exact same. Banish this, and a card from your hero's soul prevent the next 2 damage that would be dealt to your hero this turn. It does take cards from your soul, but it is just at least something to consider, right? It's an option. It might not be a good option, but it is an option. Okay, Reality Refractor. Illusionist auras you control are weapons with 5 base attack and once per turn action, pay 2 attack. So this is kind of like the bigger, stronger version of Iris of Reality, this card, but it doesn't give Go Again. While it costs 1 less and does 1 more physical attack, it doesn't have Go Again. So you can't really chain your auras into people like Iris of Reality can. But, you know, still, we'll have to see how things play out. I did see a deck playtest this where it seemed fairly good, where it's like, okay, you know, they spent basically their entire turn defending, and they had an aura left for offense where they just pitched a yellow or blue card and swung for 5 with a aura and said, okay, your turn, I'm back to defense. So, you know, it does have its place. I don't think it's horrible, but I don't know if it's our like #1 decision. Okay, Silent Stilettos. Whenever an attacking ally you control dies or an attack action card you control is destroyed by Phantasm, you may pay 3. That's pretty steep. If you do, destroy Silent Stilettos and gain 1 action point. And these have Arcane Barrier. These are very good. So this is the same idea as the Phantasmal Footsteps. Whenever an attacking ally you control dies or an attack action card you control is destroyed by Phantasm, you can pay 3, and if you do, destroy Silent Stilettos to gain an action point. That just goes to show you how strong Phantasmal Footsteps are. You can just always do it. You don't have to destroy these. Like, that's just how powerful Phantasmal Footsteps are. The first time an illusionist attack action card you control is destroyed each turn, just pay 1. If you do, gain an action point. It's just incredible. Okay, so let's keep going. Time Skippers. Action to pay 3, destroy them, and gain 2 action points. So 1 will go away right away from playing the Time Skippers, and then you'll have another one to use later on whatever your next attack is. It doesn't have Go Again. Okay, just decent little another option if you don't have Silent Stilettos or Phantasmal Footsteps. Vestige of Soul, I've seen some people talk about this. I don't think this is the way for us to go anymore, or right now. If a card has been put into your hero's soul this turn, whenever you pitch a light card, instead gain that many resources +1, and it has Blade Break with 1 armor. So it's not a bad card. It's going to let your, you know, if a card has been put into your hero's soul this turn, whenever you pitch a light card, instead gain that many +1. This does seem very strong defensively, right? If you're trying to, we're going to talk about it a little bit later. If you're trying to play very defensively and run cards like Arclight Sentinel, which is a yellow card, of course, and maybe in that deck you'd run like Light of Soul, Lumina Lance, and Celestial Cataclysm and the Figments, then all of a sudden, where'd it go? Vestige of Soul seems kind of decent, as long as you can get a card into your soul, right? Then whenever you pitch a light card, instead gain that many +1. And let me see if I understand this correctly. If a card has been put into your hero's soul this turn, whenever you pitch a light card, instead gain that many resources +1. So would that mean if you pitch 2, you'll get +1 on each of them as long as you've put a card into your hero's soul? Someone correct me on that if I'm wrong, or clarify if you know. Okay, let's keep going. Wave of Reality. When Wave of Reality is destroyed, create a Spectral Shield token, and it has Ward 1. So you're going to prevent 1 damage, and then you'll have a Spectral Shield token to prevent any another damage later. Okay, let's keep going. Or actually, excuse me. So that was the equipment and weapons, right? So I'm going to say right away that I think the absolute, I'll try to do like the top 3 of each one, right? I think the top 3 helmets are probably Halo of Illumination, Crown of Providence, and then it's kind of a tie for me in between, where was it? It's up here somewhere. There it is. No, I'll just say it's Arcanite Skullcap. I'll just say it's Arcanite Skullcap. But it would be nice to have a Null Rune Hood if you can't afford the 3 that I just said. Because they're, I understand some of these cards are not cheap at all, right? Crown of Providence, Arcanite Skullcap, and Halo of Illumination is cheap. But still, if you want to... Oh, Crown of Reflection. This was the other one I was thinking of. This is the one that was tied with Arcanite Skullcap because it even has Arcane Barrier on it. So this is a very decent consideration for a helmet. So for the chest piece, I would say that Imperial Rapture, Fyendal Spring Tunic, and Vestige of Soul are your top 3 options for the chest piece. Head, chest, arms. I'm going to go with... I think Wave of Reality is just your best option, but it's also your least important of all of these. Dreamweavers right in front of my face. Dreamweavers, Waves of Reality, and then just straight up Null Rune gloves. I think that's like your 3 best options for your glove slot. And if you guys think something else is better, please don't hesitate to post it in the comment section below so we can talk about it. Yeah. And then last but not least, legs. Phantasmal Footsteps, of course, is number 1. And then personally, I would say Silent Stilettos, followed by probably Time Skippers. But Null Rune Boots are fine, too, if you can't afford the more expensive options. Same thing with Radiant Flow, but I think the Null Rune Boots are just going to be better in the current meta we're going into, where we're going to probably see a lot of Rune Blade action going on. Right? So, yeah, very nice. And then last but not least, the weapon slot. Iris of Reality, there's only 3, I believe. Iris of Reality, Luminaris, Celestial Fury, and Reality Refractor. Honestly, guys, this is the biggest part of the playtesting we got to see. Like, going Luminaris kind of wants us to gear more towards our Heralds and our Angels, whereas Iris of Reality is probably the most offensive. Yeah, Iris of Reality is probably our most offensive option, and Reality Refractor is probably our most defensive option, where, we're going to play full on defense and then swing for 5 every turn with a Reality Refractor. I think that's going to be an option. You guys tell me what you think about that in the comment section below. Luminar Celestial Fury seems like the best, or not the best, the most well-rounded, but like offensively and defensively, because of, so once per turn instant, paying 2, target angel attack or attack action card with Herald of the Same gets go again. That's going to allow you to do things with your angels, whereas the others just won't, right? So we'll see. This gears more towards angels, like I said, whereas the Iris and the Reality Refractor are geared more towards just straight up auras. Okay, so there's that. Let's keep going. Let's try to stay at a good pace here, because we got some cards to go over, guys. We got some cards to go over. Okay, first up is Angelic Descent. I'm going to go over these a little bit quicker. So Angelic Descent, target attack action card with Herald in its name gets go again. Your next angel attack this turn gets +3. So if you're trying to run the Luminaris Celestial Fury, this only makes sense, right? Like, well, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, actually, maybe this ends up being a substitute for that, right? Because target attack action card with Herald in its name gets go again. Well, that's what this does, right? Luminaris Celestial Fury. And this costs 2 to activate, whereas this is just a card from hand. It could even be your red card if you didn't get a yellow or blue. That would normally pay for your Luminaris. Tell me what you guys think about it. I think Angelic Descent has a spot, though. But it would be more for, like, okay, let me say this. The big problem that I see with Angelic Descent is in all the games I've seen play tested, angels don't exactly stick around, right? And having a card like this in your hand is not going to help them stick around. That's the real issue. But who knows? Maybe this card will help set up for like big, not OTK turns, but like, you know, really big swing turns. But yeah, tell me what you guys think about this one. Angelic Wrath. This is just a 0 cost +4 physical damage pump for Heralds. Not bad or good. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not bad, it's not good, it's just very, you know, average. So yeah, and it does not have a defense block value because it's at instant speed instead of being like an attack reaction. So yeah, that same with this one. We do have to consider that. Blessing of Salvation. This is just a game 3 I wanted to include. This is, you know, just something to think about since our health is going to be low. Blessing of Spirits. Pay 1, 2 defense. This is ward 1, but at the start of your turn, destroy it. At the start of your turn, destroy Blessing of Spirits, then create 3 Spectral Shield tokens. It's probably going to get popped because of like things like Rune Chance, but still, it's worth thinking about against certain matchups, I think. Blinding Beam against these decks that are... If we see a lot of Levia and a lot of... what's her name? Levia and Vincent, or Levia, whatever, and Vincent, this is actually pretty decent. Target attack or attacking or defending action card gets -3 attack. So this can be used offensively or defensively, right? As in, if they try to block out your guy with a brute, a big shadow brute that's like 6+ physical, so that way it'll just crack your Phantasmal, well, this can lower that, right? So then you'll be fine, and it's free against the shadow cards. So just something to consider, especially in the sideboard, if Shadow becomes as strong as a lot of people think it will. Okay, Blistering Assault. Pay 2, deal 5, 2 defense. If you have a yellow card in your pitch zone, this gets go again. I think this card might have a spot, but at the same time, because, I mean, think about it like this. It costs 2, so you're going to pay 2 with the yellow card. That'll make this a deal 5 go again, right? But at the same time, I do think we have some better options. In fact, I kind of think Blistering Assault is almost more geared towards like a Bolton deck, but, you know, we still need to consider all possibilities. Break of Dawn, 0 cost, instant speed, prevent 4. You know, the next time, but this is for shadow damage, so keep that in mind. Celestial Reprimand. I think this card is great. Same exact idea as your Blinding Beam, but this one is just 0 cost, always -3, right? But it has to be target card defending an attack with Herald in its name. So it's not quite as versatile as Blinding Beam is, but it's always free, and it protects your Heralds that pop. Celestial Resolve, 0 cost, target attack action card with Herald in its name gets +5 or 4 or 3 if you go down. I don't really see this one being great, but who knows? It really depends, right? It really just depends. If we're trying to make a yellow deck, it's a, you know, a 0 for 4 defense, so that's, you know, that's fine, and it fits our yellow if we need that. Okay, let's keep going. Cleansing Light, pay 3. So this destroys an aura for whatever color you choose of Cleansing Light. Maybe this will be good at the sideboard. Otherwise, I don't really see this card being too crazy, to be completely honest. Who knows, though? There might be some kind of jank where you can break it. Coalescence Mirage, pay 2 for a 7 Phantasm attack. This is right on curve for for most of our stuff. But this has the effect of when Coalescence Mirage is destroyed, you may put an Illusionist Aura card with cost 0 from your hand into the arena. So, in other words, if they crack this with Phantasm, at least you'll get something from your hand into play, potentially, right? I don't know about this one. We'll see. I'm not saying it's bad, but I don't know if we're going to be able to run it in what we're trying to do with Prism. We'll see. Defender Daybreak, 0 cost, 4/2, and it gets +1. When this defends a shadow attack, non-equipment light cards get +1 defense this combat chain. So just, again, seems like a lot of shadow meta. Okay, Flicker Trick. I feel like this is going to be one of those cards that's just insanely good or insanely bad, right? Really depending on your matchup. Because if you're going against a deck that doesn't really run, deal 6, 6 physical damage attacks, like decks that like to swing very wide with a lot of 2s and 3s and 4s, this card's insane, right? It just stops pretty much anything. But against, I think like one of the main decks we're going to see are decks that can pop this very easily, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But who knows? We'll see how the meta shifts. This card can be potentially very good defensively. Fractal Replication, 0 cost. It has an asterisk for both physical and defense. When you play or defend with Fractal Replication, it gains the base abilities of an illusionist attack action card, of all illusionist attack action cards on the combat chain. Okay. And Fractal Replication's physical attack is equal to the greatest base physical among illusionist attack action cards on the combat chain, and the same thing for defense. So just a very versatile card, but it does require a buddy. It's like you need a buddy system for this card, right? Like it has to go off of something else. But I think this card has a lot of potential, and it is 0 cost. So very nice. Which goes into the next one, Frightmare. Play Frightmare only if an illusionist attack action card you control has been destroyed by Phantasm this turn. So maybe this ends up being a card that is just really good against decks that have a lot of poppers, you know, where maybe we swing in with some type of 0 cost, or not 0 cost, right? But whereas maybe a low cost like Wartune Herald, where they just crack it, right? And then we end up paying with our, we end up paying one with Phantasmal Footsteps to get another action. And now if we can pay 3, that's a lot that maybe you have this in your arsenal, right? But if we could pay 3, well, now we can swing with this, deal 13. And hey, if they Phantasm this too, somehow, not likely, but if they can Phantasm this as well, there goes their whole turn anyway, and now we're back to us, right? So we'll take it. But you can only play this if an illusionist attack action control has been destroyed by Phantasm this turn. Okay, then we got Herald of Protection. This one, so these heralds, I'm just going to go through very quickly because I think we all kind of know what they do. If you don't, you can watch my video on that. I did a spoiler video on Prism where I talk about it in a little more detail. Herald of Protection, Herald of Ravages, Herald of Rebirth, Tenacity, and Triumph. Herald of Protection gives you Spectral Shields if it hits. Herald of Ravages deals an arcane damage if it hits. Herald of Rebirth gets you a card back if it hits with Phantasm. Herald of Tenacity has Dominate, and Herald of Triumph -1 to the physical attack while defending Herald of Triumph. So attack action cards have -1 to their physical, so it's harder to pop it with Phantasm. So these cards are all just probably going to be staple, right? Like at least I feel like Herald of Tenacity and Herald of Triumph are going to be absolutely staple because of the way Dominate is and because of the way that, reducing attack is. It's just going to make it so much easier for us to punch attacks through and start getting cards into our soul. So, yeah, y'all tell me what y'all think about these, how much are going to be staple. But I do think Herald of Triumph and Tenacity are going to be absolute staples. So, Illuminate, I've got some ideas with this. If Illuminate hits put into your hero's soul, it's a 0 cost light attack action. It's a 4/3 as well. Keep this one in mind. We're going to come back to this one. Lay to Rest, this is just another anti-shadow card, really. Pay 1 for a 6/3. When this hits a hero, you may turn a card in their banish zone face down. So just very strong anti-shadow meta. Let's keep going. Miraging Metamorph. This is a 1-cost Phantasm it's a 7/3. When Miraging Metamorph is destroyed, create a token that's a copy of an aura you control. I think this card has a lot of potential. Yeah, I think this card has a lot of potential. Just thinking of auras that can hit, I mean, not that it will likely hit it very easily, but even cards like Arc-Like Sentinel, that's an aura, Maybe there's a turn where you play Miraging Metamorph, right? And then if they pop it, maybe you actually just dump your hand so that you can drop an Arc-Light Sentinel, and then I think you'll be able to target that, right? Because it's instant cast. And it'll go on the stack and resolve first. Like, it'll go top to bottom, right? I don't know. Someone tell me if you can do that. If you can, that just seems insanely good. But I do think Miraging Metamorph It just has other very good possibilities as well, right? Like if you have like a Merciful Retribution down, an Ode to Wrath, a Parable of Humility, these are all auras, right? So just very, very high potential. Phantasmaclasm is a 3-cost, deal 9, 3 defense Phantasm card. And look at the defending hero's hand and choose a card. They put it on the bottom of their deck, then draw a card. So this is going to allow you to, number one, take a look at what they have. You can basically, gear the rest of your turn around what they now have. Now, yeah, they're going to draw one new card that you're not sure what it is, but it's also going to let you take away any kind of 6 attack card, or any attack card for that matter, that you're scared of, right? Whether it be popping this with Phantasm or next turn if it's like a really strong go again card. So I think this card might have a spot. We got to keep this we have to really consider this. Excuse me. Phantasmal Haze, 3-cost, deal 8, 3 defense Phantasm. When Phantasmal Haze is destroyed, create a spectral shield token. I feel like this is just a great blue card, right? Because, okay, for 3, it's only doing 6, but it still defends for 3. You can pitch it for 3. It's a Phantasm. If it doesn't go through, then you just get a spectral shield token, right? Theoretically. So, I mean, this card just seems pretty decent. It's a little costly, but it seems pretty decent. Okay, Phantasmify. Excuse me. So, Phantasmify, I feel like might be really, really good. Pay 1. The next attack action card you play this turn is an Illusionist in addition to its other class types, and gains +5 physical and Phantasm. I feel like this might make cards like Illuminate very, very strong, especially if we can somehow resolve and stick a Ode to Wrath, which gives our Illusionist attack action cards go again. Because remember, that is what it will become, right? If we Phantasmify something, it becomes an Illusionist in addition to its other class types and gains +5 attack and Phantasm. Yeah, I understand this is a lot of cards we're talking about, but it has a lot of options. Like I said, it can hit cards like Illuminate. That would make it a 0-cost 9 for paying 1. And then you would even be able to, we're not there yet, but I'm even thinking about cards like, Enlightened Strike, not Erase Face, but Exude Confidence. And again, this turns them into Illusionist cards. So you can potentially, think about Exude Confidence, making that into a, what was it, +5 for the red one? This would be a 9 with Go Again if you have Ode to Wrath down. I don't know. I think there is something to be said there. I think there's some potential there. Tell me what y'all think about that. And there's a few others I haven't gone over yet. Like this was the other one that I really thought was good. Overload. Just, okay, now that it has Dominate, and this has baked in Go Again, and it would be swinging for 8, But yeah, and it becomes Phantasm, so they can pop it. But still, I don't know, maybe if you have Passing Mirage down at the same time, your first Illusionist attack each turn loses and can't gain Phantasm. Well, maybe, who knows? We'll see, right? That's a lot of setup. I get it. But, that's the whole point of these videos, right? We're brainstorming. We're trying to theory craft. We're trying to figure out how to break the meta. So, all right, let's keep going. Prismatic Shield. This is a straight up pay 3, create 3 Spectral Shield tokens. Okay. Doesn't get much more basic than that. It does cost a little bit, but it can be potentially very strong, especially if you're gearing away from Angels and going more towards the Spectral Shields. So, okay. Spears of Surreality. Okay. This is a 1-cost, 5 physical, 3 defense with Go Again, and it's Phantasm, So, just a very nice way to chain stuff together for very cheap. Transmogrify. This is the same idea as Phantasmify, but not quite the same. The next attack action card you play this turn is Illusionist, has 8 base physical, and just gains Phantasm. Go again. So it's basically the exact same thing as Phantasmify with the things I was saying, right? But the thing about Transmogrify is, excuse me, this just always makes them a base 8 or a base 6, depending on what you're going for. So I don't know. Each one has their perks and pros and cons. Same thing with Veiled Intentions. The next attack action card you play this turn is Illusionist in addition to its other types, and gains +4 physical, Phantasm, and when this is destroyed, draw a card. This has Go Again. Okay, so, you got 3 decent options there for buffing for all kinds of different flavors, right? Whatever you're trying to do. War-Tune Herald, this is just if it hits, it goes into your hero's soul. And if I didn't mention that, that's what the heralds do. If they hit, like, if they actually deal damage to the enemy hero, they go into your hero's soul, and they also have another effect that they trigger, right? Like, or they do something, right? That's the whole point. Like Herald of Protection, if it hits, it goes to your hero's soul, and you create a Spectral Shield token. So, okay. Water Glow Lanterns. This is just a 0 cost go again action for Illusionist. You reveal the top card of your deck. If it's red, you create a Spectral Shield token. If it's and then the yellow one is if it's yellow, and the blue one if it's blue. Arclight Sentinel. I think most people here will know what this card does. This is a 6 cost light Illusionist instant aura. Prism specialization. If Arclight Sentinel is in the arena, when an opponent announces an attack, they must choose Arclight Sentinel as the target of the attack. And it has Spectra, of course, where it can be attacked, and when Arclight Sentinel becomes the target of an attack, destroy it and close the combat chain. The attack does not resolve. Okay. Celestial Cataclysm. I think if we can really generate some soul, a way to just get a lot of cards in soul, I feel like this card can be so good. 0 cost, 7/3 go again. I mean, just obviously, right? It's so good. Figment of Erudition. I'm not going to go over every one of these in detail. These all turn into angels. So Figment of Erudition turns into Soraya, Archangel of Erudition, and each one can pay 2 to attack, and then they all have specific effects for what they do and ward for attack, for life. Okay. So, when Erudition enters the battlefield, or the arena rather, create a Ponder token. When Judgment does, you can banish a card, or you can turn a card in any banish zone face down. Protection makes us a Spectral Shield token. Figment of Ravages deals 1 arcane damage. Figment of Rebirth gets us a yellow action card from our graveyard, puts it on top of our deck. Figment of Tenacity, when enters your next attack this turn, gets Dominate. So that seems pretty good, right? That probably has some decent combat tricks going on for it. Figment of Triumph. This one is when this enters the arena, attack action cards your opponent's control get -1 this turn. So that's going to be really strong for if they block for something with exactly 6. You can now bring it down to 5, and it no longer cracks your phantasm. Excuse me. Figment of War gives us a Courage token, and that's it for the Figments. Okay, Genesis. Most people probably know what this is who played Prism in the past. This is a 4 cost instant aura. At the start of your turn, you may put a card from your hand into your hero's soul. If it's an Illusionist card, create a Spectral Shield token, and if it's a light card, draw a card. So if it's both an Illusionist and light card, you're drawing a card and making a token. Very powerful, and you're feeding cards into your soul. This just has endless amounts of synergy with what we're trying to do. Herald of Erudition. This one is a 2 cost Dominate. This one deals 5. If Herald of Erudition hits, put into your hero's soul and draw 2 cards. It has Phantasm. Herald of Judgment. If Herald of Judgment hits, put into your hero's soul, and the defending hero can't play cards from their banish zone until the end of their next turn. So a good tech card against certain matchups. Erudition, I think, is just good overall because it's Dominate for 5. I probably should have mentioned that. All of these are... Every red Herald is deal 7. Except for Herald of Tenacity, because it has Dominate. It does 5 on yellow, just like Herald of Erudition does. Okay. Invoke Soraya. This is a 2 cost legendary. Transform target Spectral Shield you control into Soraya. Arcane Herald, go again. And this is Soraya, Archangel of Knowledge. It's the same as all the other angel allies. A 4 damage, 4 health, 4 ward. But this one has, once per turn, pay 2 to attack. Whenever Soraya attacks, you may banish a light card from your hero's soul, and if you do, deal 1 arcane damage to any target. Whenever Soraya deals damage, you gain that much life. So this is a good way to get back in the game. She eats 4 damage. All of these angels eat 4 damage with their ward ability, or potentially up to 4 damage. So they're all very good, right? They're all very good at keeping us in the game, even though we're only starting with 32 health. So it's just something to consider. Okay, we're almost done with the Light/Illusionist cards. Light of Soul, this is the legendary Light Resource Gem. When this is pitched, it pitches for 2. Reveal the top card of your deck. If it's yellow, you may put it into your hero's soul. So the problem with this card is you'll have to make a deck that is just completely yellow to get the full benefit from this card. But otherwise, it still just always pitches for 2, so it's not like it's a bad thing. And then maybe you have like a 50% chance or a 30% chance to actually get its effect where you can put a card into your hero's soul. You know, I think it's worth it. And not to mention, if we're going to run cards, we're not down here yet, but if we're going to run cards like Sift and Whisper of the Oracle, here's Whisper of the Oracle. This will allow us to arrange our top cards and defense for 3. And same idea with, I could have sworn I put it, Sift is right here, sorry. And then Sift is the same idea, put up to 4 cards from your hand on the bottom of, oh no, sorry, not the same. I was thinking something totally different. But who knows, maybe even Memorial Ground, right? Put target attack action card with cost 2 or less from your graveyard on top of your deck. I understand that's kind of like going into combo areas at that point, but still, you know, it's a possibility where you could just throw a Herald on top, and then when you Light of Soul, you know it's going into your Hero Soul, and it's going to trigger your Prism's ability. So, very, very, very good interactions there. Luminalance, this is kind of like, I don't want to say it's like it's like Light's version of E-Strike, but it's not an attack, it's a reaction. But it's just a nice little card, very nice card. As an additional cost to play this, banish up to 3 cards from your Hero Soul. So you can do 1, 2, or 3, and then you can choose however many modes you did. So you can give your card go again, and remember, this is for free, okay? You know, E-Strike, you discard a card, right? Or you, how do you say it? Like you bottom deck a card, I guess. As an additional cost to play Enlightened Strike, put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck, right? With Luminalance, you're paying 0 and then banishing a card from your soul. Now, it is an attack reaction. You do have to attack first with something, right? But the point is, you know, this does give you some decent options once you're there. Because theoretically, if you have 3 in your soul, you can give the card +2 when it hits draw a card and go again, which is obviously very good. But that's going to depend on how strong we can develop our soul in these games, right? That's going to depend on that. Okay, Merciful Retribution. Pay 4, Light Illusionist instant aura. Whenever an aura or attack action card you control is destroyed, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. If it's a non-token light card, put it into your hero's soul. Okay? So whenever an aura or attack action card you control is destroyed, so any kind of phantasm popping will deal 1 damage to them, and then even just blocking, right, with a spectral shield token, or not blocking, but like, you know, using a spectral shield token. This just seems very good. Whenever an aura or attack action card you control is destroyed. I think that's right. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong on that, with the spectral shield token. Otherwise, any of these other auras they can pop that have Spectre that we're about to go over. Okay, just very good card, and it has Spectre, of course, where they can attack and destroy it. Okay. Ode to Wrath. Whenever a source you control deals damage to an opponent hero, they lose 1 life. So, it doesn't deal damage, they lose 1 life. And Illusionist, the best part about this card is Illusionist attack action cards you control have go again. So I do think this is just an automatic, I almost said 4 of, because I'm, you know, just old school. But this is an automatic 3 of, in my opinion. It's just too good to not go. And then, hey, if you need to, just pitch it for a yellow, right? Pitch it for 2. But this is too strong to not go for what we're trying to do. All of our heralds are illusionist attacks. So a card like this gives us so much value. And then, hey, what's the worst case? What's the worst that can happen? They attack this. Okay, well, we just, you know, gained life, technically, right? We just theoretically gained life from this card. So this card is extremely good. Parable of Humility. Attack action cards controlled by an opposing hero have -1 while attacking and defending. So this is good offensively and defensively. Very, very strong. Radiant Force Field. 0 cost, instant aura. This is one of the new cards. If your hero would be dealt damage, banish a card from your hero's soul to prevent 1 of that damage. When there are no cards in your hero's soul, destroy this. I'm just wondering if there's like something we're going to be able to do to like just really start stacking our soul. Or maybe I really feel like this card could be good, but I could be wrong. it's a 0 cost instant cast aura, right? That's already just, I feel like that's just already good, you know? Especially if we're going to be going the refractor or the Iris of Reality, right? Because, all right, during your action phase, wait, illusionist auras. Was it illusionist as well? Hang on, I'm sorry. Where is it? No, it's a light instant aura, so it's not an illusionist aura, right? What about the other one? What about the Iris, this one? Yeah, illusionist auras. So never mind, scratch that. It's not quite as good, but, and man, I wonder if I messed up with any of the other ones. I apologize if I did, guys. Y'all correct me in the comment section below if I blundered anything or messed anything up. But either way, I do still think this card is very good. I do think this is a very strong card because it's an instant speed light aura for 0 that can, you know, how do I say it? It could probably protect your angels, theoretically, right? Like say you have a lot of cards banked up in your soul because you haven't really, I don't know. Hang on. So let's think of it like this. Say the game is halfway through and you've gotten some figments down, and then you decide, okay, now it's time to go face, right? Now it's time to attack. And you make an angel, you attack with it, but you have like 6 or 7 souls. Well, your hero, 6 or 7 souls. Your hero has 6 or 7 cards in their soul. And then maybe you just drop this down to save your angels. Because if your hero would be dealt damage, banish a card from your hero's soul to prevent 1 of that damage. Maybe? I don't know. I'm just trying to think, guys. I'm just trying to brainstorm. Y'all tell me what y'all think about that. Because that might give us the opportunity to keep our angels alive for longer. Because they're prime targets, guys. Like, yeah, they can still attack the angel, right? Because he only has 4 health. But still, you know, maybe it forces them to do that instead of attacking you. And now, because they didn't attack you, this card sticks around, and you have an aura. You know, that's preventing damage for your next turn. I'm just trying to think out loud here, guys. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Okay, Soul Food. This is a 0 cost light action. Put Soul Food and all cards in your hand and your hero's soul. So this is a card I've seen some people messing around with to just feed their soul. I don't think it's necessary unless you're literally trying to do some type of build that is built around Radiant Force Field and Celestial Cataclysm. Like, almost like a literal Celestial Cataclysm Radiant Force Field deck. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe we need this. But I feel like, how do I say this? Soul Food seems kind of janky to me personally, because we're about to go over Soul Shield, right? Whenever you defend with this defends for 6, right? You're going to pay 2 to use it, and then you're going to defend light defense reaction for 6 defense, and then put Soul Shield in your hero's soul when the combat chain closes. You're gaining cards of your soul from this. You're gaining cards from your soul potentially with Light of Soul, right? You're gaining cards to your soul with the Heralds, and also even cards like Halo of Illumination. Destroy Halo of Illumination, put a card from your hand into your hero's soul. So I don't know if we're going to really struggle with gaining cards to our soul. I could be wrong, but who knows? Who knows? We got to see how things shape up. Tome of Divinity. This is a 4 cost instant a 4 cost light instant. It draws 2 cards, and if a card has been put into your hero's soul this turn, instead draw 3 cards. So, I'm not a big fan of this card. I'm not saying it's a bad card. I just don't like it personally. You're paying 4 to draw 2. So, I mean, you're pitching, unless you have Fyandals. So, maybe in a Fyandal Spring Tunic build, this could have a lot of mileage, right? Because in that situation, you can pitch a blue, use Fyandals, and draw 2 cards. And if somehow maybe you attacked first or something, I don't know. Maybe you attack first and got a card into your soul. Well, now you're going to draw 3 more cards. So, but it really comes down to how you're going to pull that off. You know, how are we going to pull that off? I think the card has potential. It's like I said, especially in a Fyandal Spring Tunic style build. But I do think it's a little bit janky, in my opinion, guys. Bear with me. I'm not trying to cause any frustration. Another potential combo with it would maybe be Not deep blue. Where is... There it is. Heart and Cross Trap. Destroy Heart and Cross Trap. The next... No, that's the next attack action card you play this turn. Cost... Well, I mean, you still could use that, I guess, right? You could still use this to get off your attack action card for free, quote-unquote. And then... So that was only one card you used. And then maybe your tome is in your arsenal. And with your remaining 3 cards, you'll somehow get Go again. Maybe you have Ode to Wrath down. And you'll be able to get a card in your soul. And then you'll be able to draw 3, right? Like, it's, I don't know. That's a lot of stuff going on. I'm not saying it's impossible. I don't know if it's practical, though. We'll have to see. I think this card has a lot of potential, but we'll have to unlock it. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this card. Maybe there's an interaction I don't know about. Maybe any of you, like, veteran Prism players, tell me what you think about this card, okay? All right. I really want to make this card work, right? I mean, this card just seems so good. Okay, let's keep going. Haze Bending. This is a 0-cost Illusionist aura. Once per turn effect, whenever Haze Bending or another Illusionist non-token aura card you control is destroyed, create a Spectral Shield token. So, and it has Spectra, of course. So this is just nice, right? This is just a nice little Illusionist aura that will allow you to make Spectral Shield tokens as your auras, your non-token auras, are destroyed. So, very nice. Impenetrable Belief. This is a 2-cost, deal 3. I think there are more of this one that I should have grabbed. Let me see something. There was. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Real quick. We'll come back to it. There we go. I just like to have it all set like this when I'm making decks. This helps me build them. So this is a 2-cost, deal 5, 2 defense. If 3 or more cards have been put into an opposing hero's banish zone this turn, Impenetrable Belief gains +2 while defending. This is a little janky for me, guys. I don't really care for this one, but it can potentially be a 4 defender. So maybe in sideboard, if shadow decks become insane, right? The cards that use their banish zone, maybe this card becomes good in that situation. Later Rest. Wait a second. Did I don't know how I got mixed. Oh, when I made it into 3, it pushed it up here. Sorry, guys. So we did Tome, we did Haze Bending, now run Passing Mirage. Okay, Passing Mirage is a 0-cost. It's a 0-cost aura. Your first Illusionist attack each turn loses and cannot gain Phantasm. So this is the card we talked about a little bit earlier. Number 1 is an aura, which is nice. It has Spectra, so it could eat up attacks. All of that's good. All of that adds up. But it is really nice in the sense that it makes our, like let's just say War-Tune Herald, right? This is a 1-cost deal 7. But, your opponent just literally uses Phantasm real quick, right? Or just blocks with a 6, and now it's gone. Just destroys the combat chain, ends combat chain, everything. Well, with cards like Passing Mirage, it says, no, you're going to have to actually block 7. Or this is going to hit, go into my soul, proc my Prism's ability, and then potentially, just pop off from there, right? So very, very strong for 0. And it pitches for blue, pitches for 3. Pierce Reality, this is the same idea. And these are all Spectra. The Haze Bending, Passing Mirage, and Pierce Reality, they're all blue, so they pitch for 3. They all cost 0. They're all auras, and they all have Spectra. Pierce Reality, though, the first Illusionist attack action card you play each turn has +2 physical attack. Now, remember, our Heralds, they are Illusionists, right? They are Illusionists. So you will get the effect of Pierce Reality. I think most decks are running this. This card is just, it's kind of too good to not include, and it's 0-cost aura. It does only defend for 2, but, when it gets on the board, it's going to eat more than 2 damage, probably, most times. Okay, Semblance. I have this on just because I think it's interesting. Pay 3, negate all Phantasm triggered effects of target Illusionist attack you control. The attack loses and cannot gain Phantasm. I feel like this would just make a really nice combat trick, but it costs 3. Yeah, it does pitch for blue. I had to include it. Y'all tell me what you think. Okay, Shimmers of Silver, 0-cost aura, 2 defense Spectra, just like the others we looked at. Once per turn effect, whenever you attack with an Illusionist aura weapon, put a +1 counter on it. Okay, and those counters stick around. So this is just nice, especially if you're going to be going into the whole Iris of Reality. Remember, Illusionist auras you control are weapons with 4 attack and once per turn action, pay 3 attack, and go again. And same idea with the Reality Refractor. Illusionist auras you control are weapons with 5 base. So what this does, Shimmers just starts pumping them up, right? Where it's like if they don't deal with those cards now, you know, they're going to be in a lot of trouble, right? If they don't start dealing with the auras you have down, it's going to spell you know, imminent disaster, imminent doom for them. Okay, last of the illusionist cards and light cards, Tome of Ao. I don't know how to say that. This is a 1-cost defend for 2 aura. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy Tome of Ao, then draw a card. But it does have Ward 1, so trying to get this through might be unrealistic. Just wanted to add it just in case. Okay, so let's kind of review this real quick. I'll just go over this very quickly. I don't know about these buff cards like Angelic Descent and Angelic Wrath. We'll have to see how much room we have in the deck, because right away we want our Heralds, right? The Heralds are extremely important. Just to refresh y'all's memory, whenever a card with Herald in its name is put into Prism Soul during an action phase, that's during an action phase, it can be yours or your opponent's, you may search your deck for a Figment and put it into the arena, then shuffle. So that's potentially very strong, guys. And you can proc this off 2 different ways, right, that I know of, maybe more. Halo of Illumination can get the job done there, and so can the new Light Resource Gem, Light of Soul. So, you know, you have some options here on getting that into play, even on your opponent's turn. So these Herald cards are very, very strong. We're going to want... Honestly, I think Herald of Triumph and Herald of Tenacity are just auto-includes. I don't think there's any, you know... I don't know if there's a debate on that, right? They kind of... I don't know. People might say Herald of Tenacity not so much, because they can still just defend with 1 card and it be something that pops Phantasm. But that allows us to do other things, right? That allows us then to pop our helmet that we were just talking about. Where'd it go? Halo of Illumination. Like, okay, well, in response, I'm gonna pop this, add a card from my hand to my soul, and if it's a light card, draw a card, or excuse me, put a card from your hand into your hero's soul, right? So as long as it is a Herald, well, now that's going to activate your Prism, and now you're going to be able to. And remember, you'll be able to search for a Figment. Well, the Figment you can go snag real quick is which one was it? Not Tenacity. Triumph. Okay, when this enters the arena, attack action cards your opponents control, get -1 this turn. Well, you can't defend with anything else now, because this card has Dominate, right? Like you can't do anything more. So I do think Herald of Tenacity and Herald of Triumph are going to be very strong. And likewise, I also think that Celestial Reprimand, I think this card is very good. Because if they try to just do a janky, you know, just, all right, I'm just going to block you with this Command and Conquer or something, right? Okay, well, -3 to its attack. Oh. You know, like, oh, well, what do I do now? Right? Like, that was their whole plan, right? I think these Celestial Reprimand cards are going to be very strong. And I don't even think you have to go past yellow. I think you can just add yellow or blue ones into your deck. Because most of the time they're going to defend with something that's exactly 6. Right, if they defend it at all like that, because they want to say, because if they do that, they just lost their attack for the turn, right? Theoretically, they might have more than 1, but you get my point. So going a blue one, you'll be able to pitch it for blue later, and you can still, you know, use this for the -1. Maybe yellow is the safer call. I don't know. I do think there's something that can be done with, where is it? Fractal Replication, Frightmare, Miraging Metamorph, and Phantasmaclasm, and Phantasmify for that matter, with the other 2, the what was it, the Transmogrify and Veiled Intentions. Like, these cards have a lot of potential. Fractal Replication is like the best card for just, you know, so what do I do with Go Again, right? When, okay, I just spent my entire hand, like all 4 cards, just to make this attack, do this, do that, and finally get through. Or maybe I only had 3 cards in hand, right? Oh, but I have Go Again from something. Maybe it's from Celestial Fury, I don't know. Well, if you do, you can just Fractal Replication. And there you go. You just doubled your attack, right? That's how it works. And potentially whatever else it had on it. When you play or defend with Fractal Replication, it gains the base abilities of all Illusionist Attack action cards on the combat chain. Okay, so maybe you defended, or not defended. Maybe you attacked with a Herald of Erudition. If Herald of Erudition hits, put into your Hero Soul and draw 2 cards. I don't know. Will it get that, or will it only get Dominate? Someone help me out if you know. But even if it just gets Dominate, right? I mean, that's fine. But the way it's worded, when you play or defend with Fractal Replication, it gains the base abilities of all Illusionist attack action cards on the combat chain. Maybe it's more geared to doing stuff like this when Miraging Metamorph. Well, see, they all have when they do this, do something. So I wonder if it still works like that. Y'all help me out if you know in the comment section below. Frightmare, I think, does have potential for your go again stuff. You know, if you can give a card go again. This just seems disgusting. You know, like deal 13 damage, guys. 13 damage is 13 damage. No way around that. I think Phantasmify is also going to be something that's actually pretty decent. Yeah, they'll see it coming, but what can they do realistically when you use that? When did I not add? There's one card I didn't add that I thought I did. It's the new 1 second, guys. There's one card that I did not add. It is a Illusionist. It's one of the new Illusionist cards. 1 second. And when you see it, you'll know exactly, like, here it is. This is the one. Lost in Thought. Now let me go back. Cards. Lost in Thought. Let's get straight to it. Here it is. So if you're coming in with a Lost in Thought, pay 1, go again, but look at target hero's hand and choose an attack action card. If you do, they put that card on the bottom of their deck and they create a Ponder token. So this card is basically Thoughtseize, right? I mean, it's not literally Thoughtseize for the Magic the Gathering players. Y'all know it's not literally that because this card can only target an attack action card. But still, I mean, you're saying, okay, get that Phantasm Popper out of here, and I just completely, neutered your hand. And now I'm going to come in with like a Phantasmaclasm or something, right? And then I'll look at I don't know. Maybe you'll do that first. Wait, no, this has Gogan. We'll figure it out. You guys get the point. But Lost in Thought, if you can Phantasmify something and make it big, and then Lost in Thought them, or do this first and then Phantasmify when the coast is clear, I don't know, guys. I feel like that's going to be very strong. It has a lot of potential. Who knows if we can pull it off, though, guys? Who knows? The Figments, I think, are really good. Which all Figments do y'all think are going to make it? I actually think 5 are going to make it. I think Tenacity, Ravages, Protection, Erudition, and Triumph are all going to make it. Figment of Judgment as an incredible sideboard card against Shadow decks. Figment of War is okay. I don't really like it, to be honest. It's the one I like the least. And Rebirth as well is kind of... Maybe this one doesn't make it, but it might. How many are there? 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So 5, I think, for sure have a place. Because, let me say it like this. You don't necessarily have to get the Angel's ability, right? If you can just play Figment of Protection and have that threat on the board, you're still getting a Spectral Shield token. Figment of Tenacity, giving cards Dominate at instant speed, potentially, things like that. I just think, I don't know. I think it could be very good. Genesis, I think, might be an auto-include. Invoke Soraya, maybe. Maybe this is going to be an auto-include. I do think Soul Shield will probably be, very high on the list. Ode to Wrath, I already talked about. Lumina Lance and Celestial, where'd it go? Celestial Cataclysm. If we can get cards in our Soul reliably at a decent rate, I think these cards are going to be incredible. So, yeah. Let's keep going. All right, so that's it for those. Let's go into... Now, these are just these are generic cards we're going to talk about. I'm going to try and go through this part very quickly, but I do have to talk about some of it. Sorry, guys. Number one, I'm not going to lie. I just think this card's incredible. Gorganian Tome. I know it's a 0. I know you can't pitch it for anything. I know you can't defend with it. I get it. But it just gets you through a card in your deck. I don't know why. I just love this card. It's not as good for what we're trying to do, but I always include it. Next up, Adrenaline Rush. 2 costs, deal 4, defend for 2. When you play Adrenaline Rush, if you have less health than an opposing hero, you're getting +3. Amnesia, 2 cost, deal 6. When this hits a hero, cards and tokens they own lose and can't gain names until the start of your next turn. Excuse me. Just a very good sideboard tech card, right? Cadaverous Contraband, 2 cost, deal 6. If Cadaverous Contraband hits, you may put a non-attack action card from your graveyard on top of your deck. Okay. So, you know, that can get a few things, but again, probably I think we have a lot better options than that. Censor, pay 1, deal 5, defense for 3. When this hits a hero, name a card. They can't play the named card until the end of their next turn. So I don't know. Maybe there ends up being a deck where we combine cards like Censor and Erase Face with cards like Lost in Thought and Phantasmify, where we just it's like you punk them, right? Like you just absolutely punk them. Like say you pitch a blue, right? You lost. Say you pitch a blue, just any blue, just you name it, a Wartune Herald blue. We go Lost in Thought, look at their card, go again. Okay, you get rid of that card and have a Ponder token. Now I'm gonna Phantasmify, and I'm gonna sling an Erase Face or a Censor at you. Well, Censor's 1, so you can literally do that. So okay, take 10, right? And I know you can't do anything about it because I just saw your hand. And now when this hits, that other card in your hand that I saw, you can't play that next turn. You know, like I feel like I don't know. I feel like that could be very, very strong. And then same idea with Command and Conquer. You know, I don't know, not the same thing, but you kind of get the idea. Chains of Eminence, I think, is just a good card. It's a 0 cost go again. When Chains of Eminence enters the arena, name a card. The named card can't be pitched, played, or used to defend while the Chains of Eminence is in the arena. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy Chains of Eminence. So this will be something that's very good with what I just said. Like, say you... I do think I should have spent more time talking about it, but Lost in Thought, I think, is just so good because it's going to allow us to be offensively defensive. Okay? Kind of crazy, right? We can look at their hand. Yeah, now they are going to get a juicy turn after that, right? They're going to get a Ponder token. But the point is, you're going to put them on the back foot now, right? They're going to use that extra card to try to stay in this game next turn, right? Because the manipulation we just caused. And I feel the same way with Phantasmaclasm, where you're looking at their hand. I feel like these two cards, Lost in Thought and Phantasmaclasm, are going to go so well with what we were just saying. And let me see that. Miraging Metamorph. When Miraging Metamorph is destroyed, create a token that's a copy of an aura you control. I wonder if you'll be able to use that with something like a Chains of Eminence. We'll see. I mean, I know you probably can, but I don't know how effect that'll be, if it gets an additional effect or what. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's keep going. Okay. Command and Conquer. We all know what this does. If Command and Conquer hits a hero, destroy all cards in their arsenal. we can probably easily do this with a card like Phantasmify, like we were saying. Arena's Prayer, pay 1, reveal the top card of your deck, prevent the next X arcane damage that would be dealt to you this turn, where X is 6 minus the pitch value of the card revealed this way. This might be a very good sideboard card in the future for us because of all the you know, I don't know, maybe, how do I say this? Because of all the rune chant stuff, right? You're going to pay 1, and remember, prevent the next X arcane damage that would be dealt to you this turn, where X is 6 minus the pitch value of the card revealed this way. So, say you just reveal a yellow, right? Okay, and then okay, so I get to prevent the next 4 arcane damage. Well, it's not like, okay, they used a rune chant, it's gone now, right? Because it says prevent the next X arcane damage that would be dealt to you this turn. So if it's prevent the next 4 arcane damage to be dealt to you this turn, okay, well, 1 rune chant, there goes 1. Next rune chant, next rune chant, next rune chant, right? Or am I misunderstanding that? Does 1 rune chant break this, or what? Y'all help me out if you know. Enchanting Melody. Here's another one. Maybe this is like a really good combo with your Miraging, your Miraging Metamorph. When Miraging Metamorph is destroyed, create a token that's a copy of an aura you control. Okay, well, maybe against certain matchups, you snag an Enchanting Melody, which is, you know, if you would be dealt damage, instead, destroy Enchanting Melody and prevent 4 of that damage. At the beginning of your end phase, destroy Enchanting Melody unless you have played a non-attack action card this turn. So, you know, maybe that'll be some additional value there. Enlightened Strike, we already kind of talked about this. You know, as additional cost to play it, bottom deck a card and choose one. You could draw a card, get +2, or go again. I feel like this in conjunction with something like a Phantasmify, am I saying that right? Yeah. I feel like this could get really ugly, especially like say we pitch for 3, right? Like so, and Phantasmify is like in our arsenal, or Lost in Thought is. So we pitch 3, we Lost in Thought, we see their hand, okay, so that card's gone. Phantasmify, and then we'll also go ahead and hit you with a Enlightened Strike for what'll be 7 + 5, 12. That could be very good. I don't know. We'll have to see. Something like that. Okay, Erase Face, just a nice tech card, you know, sideboard meta tech card. When Erase Face hits a hero, cards and tokens they own lose all class and talent types until the end of their next turn. So I hate to keep saying it over and over again, but maybe we throw a Phantasmify on it and sit on a Celestial Reprimand and just say, you're not going to block this, dude. You're going to get hit for 11, okay? And I'm just going to Celestial Reprimand whatever you try to snap me with or pop me with. Okay, let's keep going. Exude Confidence. This is another one, man, where I just feel like maybe there's going to be a generic Illusionist Prism deck that comes out. I'm not sure. But, you know, I don't know. That you got to still run some type of Herald interaction, or you're just not getting any really strong benefits. But who knows? Maybe there's like a few generic cards we just splash, like Censor or Enlightened Strike or Erase Face. You know, one of them, or maybe a few of them in the sideboard where we have options, just to get as much as we possibly can out of all of our Illusionist cards. Okay, Fate Foreseen, just a defensive card. Everyone knows what this does. Opt 1, defend for 4. Fyendal's Fighting Spirit. Remember, we're going to have less life than our opponent 9 times out of 10. When you attack or defend with Fyendal's Fighting Spirit, if you have less life than an opposing hero, gain 1 life. We'll take it, right? We'll always take that. Healing Balm, just gain life. That's all that is. Humble. This is another one where, okay, when this hits a hero, that hero loses all abilities until the end of their next turn. This is kind of in the same vein as like Erase Face, right? Excuse me. So just a very strong sideboard meta tech card. And you can get it up to 6, just like Erase Face and Command and Conquer, where you can also use it as a popper against decks where you need that, or mirror matches. Lead the Charge is just always a good card to consider, and we can, you know, in a Herald deck, you can run the blue one, right? The next time you play an action card with 2 or greater this turn, gain 1 action point. So all of our Heralds are 2, except Wartune Herald. So ultimately, we can just always run the blue one and get the full effect. Just something to consider if we don't want to go the Luminaris. Memorial Ground. So this is, you know, if the blue one, put target attack action card with cost of 0 from your graveyard. The yellow one does 1, cost of 1 or less, and then the red one does 2 or less, cost of 2 or less from your graveyard on top of your deck. This seems good with our Angels because it, you know, there are a few Angels that are just incredibly strong, right? Like Triumph and Erudition, and I would argue Triumph, Tenacity, and Erudition I think are just the best ones in my personal opinion. So being able to get another hit from them, or another potential hit from them, seems very good. And also it seems like this can work very well with our what's it called, our Light of Soul, the resource gem. Nourishing Emptiness. I was thinking about this, maybe if we're going to go like a non-attack deck where we just swarm the board with auras, this could be decent. 2 cost, deal 6, defense for 3. While there are no attack action cards in your graveyard, Nourishing Emptiness has Dominate, and if this hits, your hero gains +1 intellect until end of turn. So just a way to get an extra card. But again, that's like if we're not going the full-on Herald route. Just brainstorming. Oasis Respite, we know what this does. Generic instant for 1, prevent the next 4 damage. That would be dealt to target hero this turn by a source of your choice. If they have less life than each other hero, they may gain 1. Okay. So we should always gain 1 from that. Overload, I think this is just a really cool interaction with a card such as Phantasmify. You know, it just seems very good to me. And you can run Transmogrify or Veiled Intentions for what we're saying with Phantasmify. Hopefully I made that clear. They all cost 1, they all defend for 2, they all go again, and then they all buff your guy and give him Phantasm. It's just Veiled Intentions draws you a card, whereas Phantasmify just gives him so much attack, right? Just so much more attack. Well, not so much more, just one more attack. So who knows? Maybe Veiled Intentions is actually better. The next attack action card you play this turn is Illusionist. The next attack action card you play this turn is Illusionist. Okay, so I don't know. Yeah, maybe the next attack action card you play this turn is Illusionist. Yeah, so literally whichever of these three you want to run. You know, Transmogrify in red can make any card into an 8 base, which is really good as well. Okay, and I forgot to mention that with Exude Confidence. You know, while Exude Confidence isn't defended by a card with equal or greater physical attack, the defending hero can't play or activate instants or defense reactions this combat chain. So if you're coming in, you know, as a 9, they can't activate instants or defense reactions against Exude Confidence for the rest, or any card in the remainder of the combat chain, but they can still pop it with something like a Phantasmify. So you have to be careful, and then how are you going to give it go again? You know, you're going to have to work on that interaction. Okay. Peace of Mind, just a generic instant that the next time you'd be dealt physical damage this turn, prevent 4 of that damage. It costs 2, though. Pummel, we kind of already have this, right? Yeah, Pummel does cause the defending player to discard a card. And, you know, okay, target attack action card with cost 2 or greater gains +4, and if this hits, defending hero discards a card. But remember, we kind of have a free version of that up here in Angelic Wrath, where we just target attack action card with Herald Insane gets +4. And that's what we would be swinging with that has 2 or greater, that costs 2 or greater. So just, and yeah, I understand. Yeah, it costs 2 for the cost of making them discard a card. So who knows? Maybe this is the way to go if we're going into a Censor route, right? A Censor plus Lost in Thought route, right? Maybe that's the way to go. But we'll have to see what we can pull off there. We really are going to have to do some testing to see if that kind of stuff's possible. Rifting. Okay, this is so interesting. So pay 2, if Rifting hits, you may play your next non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant. Okay. Now, a lot of our auras are instants, right? But I do think it's just worth mentioning with this card because maybe we'll be able to get some type of interaction out of this. Okay. I don't know if we have any card that would be able to give us go again from this. If Rifting hits, you may play your next non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant. So maybe that is what we would run like with Phantasmify. Like we would swing for that. They're like, okay. And we're like, okay, well, you know, it's like maybe we pitched a blue for that, right? And now we slap down a Phantasmify or a Lost in Thought, right? Because it has to be a non-attack action. So Phantasmify, Lost in Thought, Transmogrify, Veiled Intention, something like that, right? Something. Just a cool interaction, I thought. Who knows? Maybe not practical, just worth mentioning. Okay, Rise Above seems like it could be kind of decent for us. So pay 2, you may put a card from your hand on top of your deck rather than play above's cost, resource costs, and then it defends for 4. So, like, my idea for this is, like, maybe we have Light of Soul in hand. Yeah, it's hard. We'd have to have a card in our arsenal. Maybe we have a Ode to Wrath in our arsenal, and so we pitch for 2. Something for 2 to play this card, and then we put a Yellow Herald card from our hand on top of the deck, and then we use at the end of our opponent's turn, I guess, we would pitch the Light Resource Gem, reveal that it goes into the hero soul. We get to do an interaction there. I don't know. There's all kind of cool ideas for this, but Sink Below is probably still just better. Okay, Scar for Scar, 0 cost, deal 4. When you play Scar for Scar, if you have less health than an opposing hero, it gains go again. So for us, this is essentially just a go again, right? Against, I think most of the time this will be. Okay. Sift, we talked about this a little bit. Put up to 4 cards from your hand on the bottom of your deck, then draw them many cards, go again. This is just a 0 cost defense for 3 go again action card that can help you fix not so great hands. But probably not the best for a deck like what we're running. Excuse me. Okay, Sigil of Protection. 1 cost, generic action aura. It has Ward 4, and at the beginning of your action phase, destroy Sigil of Protection. So it's just a nice little shield for us, right? We just plop it down. It's an aura. We can swing with it, potentially, right? Well, no, it's not an Illusionist Aura. It's not an Illusionist Aura. I got to keep remembering that. But, I don't know, something to think about. It is a Ward 4, which is nice. Sigil Solus, this is just gain 3. Sink below, you may put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck, and if you do, draw a card. 0 cost, defend for 4, fixes your hand. We all know what Sink Below does. It's just so good. Slogism. The next attack action card with cost 2 or greater you play this turn gains +6, and this is Go Again. Just adding it because I just, you never know. Like I said, if we do end up finding a deck that just kind of pummels someone in the face, maybe Slogism and Pummel, like literally Slogism plus Pummel, just ends up becoming disgusting. It costs 3. Don't get me wrong. It's not cheap, but it might be something we have to think about. Snatch, 0 cost, deal 4, 2 defense. If it hits, draw a card. This just seems good to me with what we were saying with the Phantasmify stuff if we decide to go that. So, yeah, there's that. Maybe this will help you get a card into your arsenal, right? Unmovable, pay 3, defend for 7. We know what that does. Whisper of the Oracle, 0 cost, defend for 3, go again, opt 4. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may put them on the top and or bottom in any order. I think this is the card I was thinking of when I was thinking of Sift. This card is just extremely... it has a lot of synergy with our... what's it called? Our Light Resource Gem. I keep forgetting the name of it. Light of Soul, this card. When this is pitched, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's yellow, you may put it in your Hero's Soul. Like, we can just Whisper of the Oracles. We can even run the yellow one, maybe even run the blue one. That might be a little risky, but easily can run the red one. Look at top 4 cards. If there's not a yellow Herald up there, then maybe you save the excuse me. Maybe you just saved it at that point. Maybe you just saved the Light Gem for next turn. I don't know. Or you just throw them all on the bottom and just go for it, right? Maybe there's a 1 out of 5 chance. You just take the chance. But anyway, very decent card, and it defends for 3, so it's never quite dead. Okay, Wounded Bull, 3 calls, deal 7. When you play Wounded Bull, if you have less life than your opponent, gains +1. Okay, solid. 3 costs, deal 8. Only defends for 2, but it's still not bad. Wreak Havoc. This is kind of like the poor man's Command and Conquer. Defense reactions can't be played to Wreak Havoc's chain. When this hits a hero, you may turn a card in their arsenal face up, then destroy a defense reaction in their arsenal. So if they have a defense reaction in there, you could destroy in their arsenal, right? And they can't play defense reactions to Wreak Havoc's chain link. Okay, we're almost done, guys. Art of War. Pay 1, generic instant, choose 2. Attack action cards you control gain +1 attack and +1 defense this turn. So that's really nice for us, right, when we're defending or attacking. The next attack action card you play this turn gains Go Again. That's more for attacking. Until in a turn, you may defend with attack action cards from Arsenal. That's very nice. And then you may banish an attack action card from your hand if you do draw 2 cards. Yeah, we know what Art of War is. Just a solid card. I think it could have a spot in the deck, especially with it being a yellow pitch. Like, that could... well... What am I thinking of that requires yellow in particular? Was it Light of Soul? Yeah. When this is pitched, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's yellow, not if it's light, if it's yellow, you may put it into your Hero's Soul. So that's just nice. You wouldn't want to get rid of Art of War like that, but, you take what you can get. And it really just depends on what we're going for with the deck, right? Okay, cash in. This is if we're going the Crown of Providence route, or Crown of Dominion, excuse me. You may destroy 4 coppers, 2 silvers, or 1 gold you control rather than pay cash-ins. Cost, draw 2 cards, Go Again. Just very strong. We all know what this does. Fog Down, this is an aura. This is a 3 cost, defend for 3 aura. Non-attack action cards lose and cannot gain Go Again. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy Fog Down. So this just seems like a pretty decent card defensively if we're going against maybe we're going against a deck like Viscerai, right? Well, okay, your non-attack action cards don't get Go Again, right? Your attack action cards can have them. Well, bad news. The way they get Go Again, typically speaking, is from like Malveron, right? So I think this could be decent. It does cost 3. That's not great, but it does defend for 3 as well if we need to, and pitches for 2, and it can really shut down certain decks in certain matchups. Okay, Hack's Reality, 1 cost, generic action, 2 defense. Your next attack this turn gets +2 physical. The next time you hit a hero this turn, destroy a non-token aura they own with cost less than or equal to the damage dealt this way. Go again. So, you know, this is nice. This is probably like meant to be a mirror match style tech meta card, right? It's like they're trying to crack our auras, but yeah, pretty good card. Solid card, very good sideboard card, that's for sure. Remembrance is just good, right? Shuffle up to 3 action cards from your graveyard into your deck, and then banish this card. Just good recursion if you're going against decks that like to mill, or like to, you know, go like super late game. Springboard Somersault, just a good yellow defensive reaction. If it's played from your arsenal, gains +2. Okay, that all you got. Another great defensive reaction. Defense for 3, for 0, pitches for 2. And while this is defending an attack with 2 or less attack, excuse me, when the combat chain closes, draw a card. So just, you know, very nice. Tome of Fyendal, I'm including that because if it, you know, if it's played from your arsenal, you gain 1 card or gain 1 life for each card in your hand. So that could be decent. And we do have a lot of instant cast abilities. So we, you know, this isn't exactly bad for us. This it's not exactly the worst thing in the world that it doesn't have Go Again, because we do have a lot of instant speed interactions. So, okay. I think this card is kind of good. Burdens of the Past. Until end of turn, target hero cannot play defense reaction cards with the same name as a card in their graveyard. If there are 10 or more defense reaction cards in their graveyard, draw a card, go again. That'll probably be very rare to have 10 or more defense reaction cards in the graveyard to draw the card, but you do get go again regardless. It does pitch for 3, it defends for 3. Maybe this will see a place if, you know, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens with the meta, but I think this card could be decent. Very good sideboard card. Energy Potion, of course, you know, 0 cost, instant destroy Energy Potion to gain 2. Good for setup turns and things like that. Heart of Fyendal, I've seen a lot of people running this. It does seem very good, I'm not going to lie. When you pitch Heart of Fyendal, if you have less life than your opponent, gain 1, pitches for 3, you know, we'll take it. Poison the Well, this is a new card, generic instant, 0 cost. The next time a hero would gain health this turn, instead they lose that much health. This could be just extremely powerful into mirrors or into light, you know, just decks that heal. You know, this could be very strong with that. It probably won't have a place in our deck because we're more focused about us healing, not stopping them from healing. But it's also a card we need to look out for against, you know, decks that might be running this against us as a sideboard card. Who knows? Okay. Pursuit of Knowledge, 2 cost, 4 damage, 2 defense. If it hits, your hero gains +1 on a turn, +1 intellect till on a turn. This could be another card that was decent with our Transmogrify or, what's it called? Let me zip up here real quick. With, oh gosh, what's it called? Phantasmify, Transmogrify, Veiled Intentions, things like that. Okay. Time Snap Potion, we all know what this does. 0 cost, pitches for 3, but action, destroy it to gain 2 action points. This will be good for chaining things together. Toughen Up, 2 costs. 4. This is, you know, Toughen Up's really good. Yeah, it does cost 2 to play because, you know, it only defends for 4, right? And it costs 2, but you are pitching it for 3, right? So it does have that utility. So it is worth mentioning. It's worth mentioning because it does kind of combo with, like, maybe we pitch our light resource gem, Light of Soul, get a card into our hero soul, and now we defend for 4, right? And then later, you know, if in a later part of the game, maybe we draw 1 and pitch it for 3 resources. You know, it has utility. Okay, Warmonger's Diplomacy, 0 cost action, 3 defense for 3. This is one of the new cards. Starting with the hero to your left, each hero chooses War or Peace. If they choose War, the only actions they may play or activate during their next turn are weaponed and attack actions. But if they choose Peace, the only actions they may play or activate during their next turn are non-weapon, non-attack actions. This really hurts certain matchups like Viscerai, who they typically, you know, they go non-attack, attack, non-attack, attack. That's like the way they go. So this can really shut down a matchup like that. And against us, I don't think it really hurts us, to be honest. I don't think it really hurts us that much. Because we can just play defensively that turn, right? This is a card that I feel like can single-handedly cause a tempo shift, right? Starting with the hero to your left, they choose it. They choose War. The only action they may play or activate during their next turn. Yeah. Yeah, this can like single-handedly get us back in the game, I feel like. I don't know. Maybe not. Y'all say what you think about it. Well, guys, out of all of these, I think there's some really interesting stuff out of the generic cards. I think Censor is actually just so good, guys. Like I said, I do think I love cards that shut down my opponent. I love Censor. I love cards like, where is it? Lost in Thought, Phantasmaclasm. I understand they're not the most practical cards, but I think they might have a spot, right? I think they might have a place. Same thing with Arclight Sentinel, man. That, oh, man, just disgusting what this card does, right? They have to attack it. But yeah, I think that's about it, guys. I don't want to spend too much more time on here. I know this has been my longest video, but I really want to get a deck that works with Prism, and I guess that's what I'll talk about at the end here. I'll finish up with the generic summary and then talk about what directions to go as Prism. Just to end on just to finish up this section, I think Sink Below is definitely worth considering for us defensively. I think Enlightened Strike is going to be very good for us. It's just a good card, period, right? So the turn we need to really turn it on, quote unquote, we can just turn it on with a card like this. Because, you know, you have to imagine a pull up a turn where you basically, where'd it go? Sorry, guys. It's, oh my gosh. Everything got shifted over when we added those cards. It's the Cataclysm. Am I crazy right now? I have to be going right past it. It's called Celestial Cataclysm. It's in alphabetical order, right? What on earth? Where is it? Or is it called something else Cataclysm? I'm sorry, guys. I'm losing it. I don't understand. I see Lumina Lance. Where could it have gone? Yeah, I have it in the deck. Anyway, this is the card I'm talking about. Imagine a turn where you go, okay, 0 cost, pitch 3 souls, coming in for 7. You know, good luck, I'm coming in for 7, and go again, right? Let's see if it shows up now. I must be tripping, guys. Watch, I'm going to watch. Oh, here it is. Okay, here it is, guys. I'm sorry. Like I said, I was going to be watching this tomorrow and then just not, you know, seeing it right away. Anyway, so you're going to pay 0, come in for 7 with go again by banishing 3 souls. And then, okay, that's not it. Well, I'm going to pay 0 again. And then I'm going to come in with this for 5 or 7, and you're just going to take 14, right? It's just going to be disgusting. And this is not Phantasm. You know, this is, you're just out of luck, buddy. You know, and then, like I said, whew, just imagine a turn where here I go again. I've lost it. Here it is. Imagine a turn. So you pay 0. You come in with Celestial Cataclysm. Like, okay, I'm doing this. Like, I'm coming in for 7. What is your reaction, right? Like, or what are you defending with? And then, do you have any defensive reactions? Okay, so now it's my turn again, right? I'm going to now come in with a Enlightened Strike for 0, or for 5, and give it go again. Okay, how are you going to defend this? Because I've come in for 12 damage so far, right? And then I'm going to pitch just a 2-cost card or something like that, just some type of you know, whatever 2-cost card, and I'm going to finish you off with a Herald of Triumph. Or not a 2-cost card, excuse me, a card that pitches for 2 or more, maybe even up to 3, right? That would be absolutely brutal, right? That would be absolutely brutal if we actually have something that pitches for 3 and something in our arsenal that deals, you know, that comes in for 1, maybe Phantasmal or Phantasmify, something like that. Anyway, but then we come in with Herald of Triumph. So I've hit you for 7 plus 7 plus 5, right? That's just some potential that could be there. So I do think we can go like an extremely aggressive route, or maybe not. Maybe what I said is actually a defensive route. Like maybe we actually just, you know, excuse me, maybe that's like our only offense in a deck, and we just sit back on our cards that are defensive, like Arclight Sentinel. Our Figments, we play off of our Figments, right? We play off of our Soul Shields. We just build up, and then, you know, and play our Pierce Realities. Really get them to just, you know, let's get to the point where we can build up our engine, right? And then we just run them over. So, That's one route. The other route, we have to always consider the figments, right? Because that is what we're running, right? We are running Prism. So we do have to consider running this, or there's no point in running this, right? Unless you're literally just trying to play a light illusionist deck that has no synergy with the leader, right? Why would you do that, right? It doesn't make sense. Sorry, I keep saying right. But whenever a card with Herald in its name is put into Prism's Soul during an action phase, you may search your deck for a figment, put it into the arena, then shuffle. So that is what's going to be so strong about running Heralds. But here's the thing. Maybe you only run like 2 Heralds, right? Now, I mean like 2 entire play sets of Heralds, right? Like, so say you run Herald of Tenacity, so you'll run 3 red, 3 yellow, 3 blue of it, and Herald of Triumph, 3 red, 3 yellow, 3 blue. Or maybe you don't run the yellows at all. By the way, maybe you don't run yellows. I don't know. It's something we have to think about. We have to see how things are going to unfold. I think almost no matter what, you should run Celestial Reprimand. So that way, when they go into... Now, this does only defend... target card defending an attack with Herald in its name gets -3. So we wouldn't be able to use this on... I think I might have said it earlier. You wouldn't be able to use this on one of these other guys here. It has to be a Herald card that Celestial Reprimand saves you from. But still, it's still a very powerful card. What else? Yeah, I think I do think there's going to be a lot of ways we're going to be able to build this deck, guys. I know I heard someone mention, and they were right, that, you know, Prism didn't actually get a lot of new cards, right? Yeah, the figments are new, and that does present a whole new, you know, world for Prism. But, you know, a lot of these Heralds apparently had already been around, right? Like these Heralds here, you know, see, even at the bottom of this, it says 2021. So, you know, that's kind of interesting that they chose to do it that way. But I still think we have a lot of options. I think that the possibilities are still pretty much endless for us because of this once per turn instant. How do I say this? This once per turn instant to awaken angels, just at the, you know, at a snap of the fingers, right? As long as you have 2 to pay for it. This is going to allow a lot, especially if you're running Empyrean Rapture. You're going to come in with a Herald. So let me say it like this. There's going to be a way to play this deck that is just very straightforward Heralds, right? Excuse me. Where you just straight up go in as a Herald build. And if the Herald gets popped, well, it costs them an attack card. So you're kind of, you know, you got a pretty even trade there where you can just try it again next turn. Eventually, theoretically, they're going to run out of poppers, right? Well, in this case, if they don't block it, I should say, not in this case, but if they can't stop it and you start dealing damage, okay, well, all Heralds go to your soul, right? Like, no matter which one it is. If Herald of Ravage hits, put in your hero's soul. If Herald of Protection hits, put in your hero's soul. So they all go to your hero's soul. And when a Herald goes to your hero's soul, you get to snag any Figment card you want to. And with Empyrean Rapture, if a card with Herald in its name has been put into your hero's soul during your turn, it does have to be on your turn, the first hero ability you activate, that turn costs 2 less to activate. So you can flip it for free, right? I don't know. I just think that that is something we need to be taking advantage of. So because of that, and the same thing with Halo of Illumination, this can allow for some really nasty stuff, guys. Halo of Illumination is very good for us. Because at instant speed, you're going to pay 1, destroy it, and then put a card from your hand into your hero's soul. So just put a Herald into your hero's soul. And then you're going to be able to snag a Figment and throw it straight into play. I know we already talked about that, but that's a big deal, guys. That's going to allow us to do things like, you know, throw down the Figment of, what's it called? The -1, not Tenacity, Triumph. Just boom, you know. At instant speed, we're going to drop a Herald into our soul and lower your attack so that we can defend easier. Or on offense, we're going to lower your attack so now it doesn't pop our Phantasm. So, a lot of cool stuff there. Well, guys, I don't want to ramble on for too much longer. I want to know what you guys think. Are we going to go more the Angel route? Are we going to go more of an Aura route where we're just utilizing a Light Illusionist hero? Is it going to be a mixture of both? Can we make an aggressive list? I feel like, with cards like Pierce Reality, with cards like Phantasmify, I feel like we can make a pretty aggressive list, guys. What are your thoughts on Lost in Thought? What are your thoughts? Can we make Frightmare work? Y'all help me out, guys. Tell me what y'all think. What direction can we go with this deck? Fractal Replication seems good. And by the way, this is when you play or defend with Fractal Replication, it gains the base abilities of all Illusionist attack action cards on the combat chain, and then you get the highest attack of them. So, or you can play it on defense and get the highest defense of them. But think about it. All of our Heralds, those are all Illusionist cards. So as long as we can give them go again, with maybe cards like this, whereas Celestial Fury, there's pay 2, target angel attack or attack action card with Herald in its name gets go again. And that's at instant speed, by the way. If we can manage to pull that off and follow up with Fractal Replications, maybe we're looking at a very aggressive deck, guys. Like, maybe we're looking at a hyper-aggressive deck. I don't know. I'm really interested in trying all this stuff out. Like I said, I think I said at the very beginning of the video, I've purchased a lot of cards for Prism. I can't play as much as I would like to play. I am somewhat busy, busier than I would like to be sometimes, if you guys know what I mean. I'm not too busy to do what I'm doing, or I wouldn't be doing it. But I just mean, like, I wish I had more time to play is what I'm really trying to say. And there's so many ideas I want to try, right? There are so many things I want to try. Like, maybe, here's another question. Should we be focusing on gaining life? Because I understand how the angels work with Ward. Like, it's, if you play 2 angels, you basically had 40 life. But at the same time, you really didn't, right? You guys know how it is. It's not the exact same. Especially if you're going against a deck with a Rune Chance that can just, pop at 1. So it's... We got a lot to talk about, guys. We got a lot to think about, a lot to brainstorm and to figure out when it comes to Prism. I think it's going to be challenging. I kind of got an idea of how the old Prism works. Like I said, I kind of looked into it a little bit. For those who don't know, I am new to Flesh and Blood. I've only been doing this for about 2 to 3 months now, something like that, if that. No, about 2 to 3 months now, actually. And man, I'm telling you what, it's I'm learning a lot, and I kind of took a look at the old Prism, the way it was set up, and I see why it was so good before. She got Living Legend for a reason, right? It was very strong, and I don't know if this is going to be able to be as strong with the new one, that is Prism Awakener of Soul, but I enjoy a challenge. And when I find a deck that I like I said, I don't care if it's a competitive deck. When I find a deck that I like, I'm basically like all in on it, quote unquote. I don't know how else to say that. I want to make it work at that point, right? I want to prove that it can work, because just a little bit about me real quick. Don't worry, I'm almost done. Excuse me. I am a deck builder, right? Like, that is what I take most pride in. I'm a good player, like, for all intents and purposes. I'm not trying to brag or anything. I'm saying, like, yes, I am a very competent player. You have to be a competent player in order to make decks, right? Because you have to know how the games work and how things interact and what to expect. But I take more pride in my deck building, I think, than I do my own play. In fact, when I was younger, about 10 years ago younger, me and my brother, we would play Magic the Gathering together, and I loved our team. I'm trying to get him back into cards. So Jesse, if you're listening to this, I hope you get back into cards with me. But I'm trying to get him back into cards because we had the perfect combo. He was this very, I don't want to say hyper competitive, but extremely good competitive player. And I was this deck builder, and I could just make him decks, and he would go play and win with them in Magic. Now, this was in Magic for Friday Night Magic type setups, but still, I mean, that was something that we enjoyed to do, and it was like a team effort. So hey, maybe that's the thing. Maybe I need to get on a team again for this game, or well, not again for this game. It'd be my first team for this game, but get back into like a team type of atmosphere. Because how do I say this? I would rather build decks than even play the game sometimes. Not because the game is bad. you know, why would I make decks for a game that I don't want to play, right? No, it's not that. I enjoy playing, but I really love the mental aspect of it, the psychological aspect of it, and looking, you know, watching games play out and being like, oh, you know, that card there in this situation against that deck is absolutely checkmate. You know, it's like figuring out all these combos and synergies. It's probably my favorite aspect of card games. I know I'm just kind of rambling at this point, guys. I appreciate y'all sticking around. I appreciate y'all sticking around me if you still are. But it really is. It's my favorite thing about card games is being able to. You're combining, you know, psychological warfare with preparation and adaptation and competitiveness and, you know, a little bit of grit. You know what I mean? And a little bit of composure skills. You know, because when you're at the table against someone. How many of y'all have been at a tournament where you're watching the other guy and he is shaking? I mean, like his hands are shaking, not because anything's wrong with him, but because he's nervous. Like I have walked by tables. I've noticed it a few times against newer players who get kind of nervous, but I've seen at the top tables where like, okay, you know, these guys are scared, you know, because they know all eyes are on them. It's like this, clutch gene that they talk about in sports. Like, are you clutch, right? Can you stop your opponent from winning, right? Because it's really not about you winning. It's about stopping them from winning so that you can win, or vice versa. It can go either way, I guess. But anyway, I'm done, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm sorry this video ran for so long. Y'all might have to watch this on 2x speed. I'll have to put that in the comment section below. I was even trying to talk fast, guys. I was trying to talk so fast in this video, and it still ran almost 2 hours long. But who knows? Maybe there's some people out there that'll enjoy content like this. Because I will say this as I'm ending the video, I would love to do more of a podcast style where I just kind of talk, get some interactions with people, like live interactions. But that's down the road for me. I'm nowhere close to that yet. I don't have that kind of follower base yet or anything like that. But anyway, okay. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for sticking around this long if you did. And if you're not already subscribed, please do that for me. It would really help me out. Like the video if you don't mind. And until next time, guys, peace.